The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hi everyone, and welcome to Eagle Point Funding's webinar, Department of Defense Small Business Grants for STTR, due October 24th, 2018. I'll be today's presenter, Oliver Hamel. I'm the Director of Marketing and Sales Support here at Eagle Point Funding. Here's my contact information, my email and my phone number. Feel free to reach out anytime. So we'll begin the webinar by giving you a little background on SBIR and then today's topic STTR, and also we'll talk about federal funding in general. Then we'll talk about the topics for today through STTR for the Department of Defense. SBIR stands for Small Business Innovation Research, and STTR stands for Small Business Technology Transfer. They're the two sister programs that are kind of the staple programs for small business grants through the government. They make up a smaller portion of the budget, but they're the mainstays of receiving federal grants. They support R&D and financing of cutting-edge technologies. For SBIR, there's about $2.5 billion set aside annually. $43 billion has been set aside to date, and about 160,000 grants have been awarded. For more information, you can check out www.sbir.gov, which has a lot of great information about the program. Just to cover a little more in detail, STTR is the sister program of SBIR, and it involves partnering with a research institution. It makes up 0.4 or about 0.45 at this point percent of the extramural research budget, which is a little bit over $250 million. Basically, if you're interested in partnering with a research institution or a university, then you would want to do an STTR type grant. If you want to go it alone without partnering with a university, then you would go with a SBIR. So today, until now, we've covered all the SBIR topics for going it alone, but today we've dedicated a webinar to the STTR topics, which all involve partnering with a research institution. Here are the four goals of the SBIR and STTR programs. 1, meet federal research and development needs. 2, increase private sector commercialization of innovation derived from federal research and development funding. 3, stimulate technological innovation. And 4, foster and encourage participation in innovation and entrepreneurship by socially and economically disadvantaged persons. The SBIR and STTR programs are 3-phase programs. For STTR, it's actually slightly different between the two, but for the sake of being simple and focusing on today's topic of STTR, Phase 1 is $150,000 for 1 year. Phase 2 is $1 million for 2 years, and Phase 3 is commercialization focused. There's no SBIR funding, and it's usually about $1 million as well. To give you a little background on the Department of Defense SBIR announcements, they come out in February, June, and October of each year, 3 times a year. The deadline for this notice is October 24th, 2018. And the DoD's budget for the SBIR program is $1 billion, which makes up the bulk of the SBIR budget. A little bit of information on who wins these grants. Half of the awards are to firms with fewer than 25 people. A third of awards are to firms of fewer than 10 people. And a fifth are minority or women-owned businesses. I've broken down for you in the next 2 slides the departments that work with the SBIR and STTR programs. Just keep in mind that SBIR, which is not today's topic, but it's the sister program of STTR, they work with all 11 departments, and here's a list of all of them, and it's a good way to become familiar with all the different departments by taking a look at this. On the next slide, I'll focus in on STTR, and I'll show you the departments that work with STTR. So here you see there are only 5 departments that work with STTR. It's a good thing to be aware of, and you can kind of tell from the topics we'll go over today that the departments that work with STTR are narrower. There are only 5. These are the 5: the DoD, DOE, HHS, NASA, and NSF. Okay, we've reached the middle portion of the webinar where I'll kind of give you an overview of federal funding in general. Here you see a graph of the size of this year's budget. It's $176.8 billion for 2018. It was revised from last year, and it brought up to 176. It was expected to be more like 150. So it's a really large year for federal funding. It's very promising, and it means there's a lot of dollars available. Here you see a pie chart breaking down the different grant mechanisms that exist for receiving federal grants. The large portion is actually is through a BAA, which makes up 96.4% of the graph. BAAs are broad agency announcements, and they're a larger grant mechanism. SBIR and STTR make up 3.6%, SBIR is 3.2%, and STTR is 0.4%. They make up a smaller portion, as I mentioned earlier. But so keep in mind that BAs are a good route to take as well. If you usually stick to SBIR, it's good to try to think about BAs too. There's a lot of money available that way. And also today's topics have to do with STTR, but keep in mind we do work with BAs. So if you wanted to work with us on that, we can help you. Here's a breakdown of the differences of between dilutive and non-dilutive funding. Non-dilutive funding means there's no equity transfer, which means you don't have to give up any equity when you receive a grant, which is different from venture capital, which involves giving up equity when you receive a grant. Additionally, there's no interference, meaning you don't have to bring on any advisors or board members, and there's no need to give up any IP. All IP rights are maintained in non-dilutive federal funding. All right, we've reached today's topics. I'll start with topic number one. Topic number one, development of a real-time biomarker. I apologize. I'm going to skip topic number one. This is actually a biotech-related topic, so we're going to move on to topic two. Topic number two, cyber knowledge management for weapon systems. This is through the Air Force. The topic is info systems. Research, design, and develop an information management capability incorporating a multi-level security methodology, framework, and techniques to securely store, synthesize, and disseminate cyber information related to military systems. Topic 3, ultra-wideband receiver UWR sample clock modulation. This is through the Air Force. The topic is sensors. The objective is to develop a sample clock modulation technique for a novel prototype receiver architecture capable of up to 30 gigahertz of instantaneous bandwidth, IBW, with dramatically reduced size, weight, heat dissipation, and power consumption when compared to traditional receiver architectures. Topic 4, revolutionary data presentation and manipulation. This is through the MDA, the Missile Defense Agency. The topic is info systems. Develop innovative methods to present, manipulate, and analyze large multi-dimensional data sets to revolutionize the system's analysis of modeling and simulation and test data. Topic 5, high-G aerodynamic controls. Again, through the MDA, Missile Defense Agency. The topics here are air platform, battle space, and weapons. Develop aerodynamic controls for high-G maneuvers and hypersonic environments for missiles. Calls for the performance of analysis on promising aerodynamic control concepts to include modeling and or limited wind tunnel assessment, and to estimate the maneuverability and kinetic energy loss for maneuvers at a range of Mach numbers and altitudes. Advanced absorptive baffles for exo-atmospheric optical sensors. MDA, Missile Defense Agency again. The topic here is materials. Baffles reduce stray light within optical telescopes in order to improve the sensitivity of missile defense sensors and seekers. Baffle materials used within exo-atmospheric optical sensors must be lightweight, have good thermostructural properties, and survive harsh environments. Some materials have these attributes but are generally too reflective. The DoD is looking for someone to develop new materials or new surface processing techniques for existing materials to use in the fabrication of absorptive baffles, visible and infrared for exo-atmospheric sensor or seeker telescopes. Topic 7, novel approaches for eliminating bias drift in infrared focal plane arrays. This is again through the MDA, Missile Defense Agency. The topic is electronics and sensors. Develop fieldable sensor package capable of participating in a missile defense application test that will eliminate reliance on integrated non-uniformity correction hardware and electro-optical infrared EO or IR sensors to reduce sensor size, weight, power, and cost, or SWaP-C, simplify maintenance and integration, and streamline mission continuity of operations. Topic 8, low toxicity non-cryogenic liquid propellant upper stage engine. Again through the MDA, Missile Defense Agency, the topic is materials. Develop and demonstrate enabling technologies for a liquid upper stage engine utilizing low toxicity non-cryogenic liquid propellants. Topic 9, uncertainty reduction in high-speed flight vehicle modeling. This is again the last topic from the MDA, the Missile Defense Agency. The topic is infosystems. Develop and implement in software a comprehensive methodology to reduce uncertainties in the modeling and simulation of high-speed aerodynamic vehicle flight. U.S. SOCOM, command data interoperability. Through U.S. SOCOM, United States Special Operations Command. The topics are battlespace, infosystems, and sensors. Develop an open architecture and roadmap for feasible migration to interoperable command control and intelligence C2I and modeling simulation M&S systems based on an open application programming interface gateway service, open geospatial standards, and interface control. Topic 11, natural rubber production. DARPA is the agency here. Defense Advanced Research Projects Agencies is the acronym for DARPA. The topic here is materials. Produce rubber from plants and implement alternative agronomic practices conducive to environmental conditions for increased rubber biosynthesis, extraction, processing, and manufacturing. Topic 12, methane harvesting for seafloor generation. This is again through DARPA. This is the second to last topic, so we're almost through everything. Again, DARPA stands for Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. The topic here is ground and sea vehicles. Develop an ocean methane capture and electrical energy recovery system capable of supporting unmanned underwater vehicles, or UUV, power storage, usage, and recharge. Last topic, topic 13, visual relative navigation, again through DARPA, which stands for the Defense Advanced Research Projects Agency. The topic is infosystems. Develop the sensor, hardware design, and data processing and control algorithms necessary for an unmanned aircraft to maneuver to within proximity of and station keep with respect to a non-cooperative aircraft through visual references only. Okay, that should conclude the topics. I think one thing to note, or two things to note, are that it's an interesting cross-section of different topics from different agencies on a whole bunch of different ideas. So it kind of gives you a taste for what's available also in SBIR through the DoD. As you can see, there's a lot of stuff going on in the Department of Defense, so a lot of the technologies out there are relevant. That leads me to my second point. If you noticed a topic today that you feel you have revolutionary technology in, we think you should apply for the DoD SBIR or STTR grant, and that your best chances are with us, and that if you want, you can reach out anytime, and we'd be happy to set up a call or talk to you to try to help you with your grants on these topics. So just to give you a little background on who we are, Eagle Point Funding, we're an international consulting firm specializing in non-dilutive funding, biggest of its kind in the world. We were established in 1999. We have 70 plus full-time employees and 250 plus active clients. A little bit about our successes. We use a multi-submission strategy. We have over $1.5 billion awarded to date, roughly $70 million annually, and we have a success-oriented business model. With that, I'm going to open it up to, before I open it up to Q&A, I'm just going to cover the pricing for our model to work with us on STTR for DoD. It's $5,000 for phase 1 with a success fee of 5%. And for phase 2, it would be $5,000 with a success fee of 5%. Okay, we've reached Q&A. So I think I might have my colleague Josh Barone join me for Q&A. I'm going to check to see if he's available. If not, I will handle it on my own. And if you have any questions, feel free to use the panel for your webinar to ask anything, and I'm happy to answer them. In the meantime, I'm going to just ask some of my own questions to kind of start the conversation. Okay, so my first question would be, what kind of stuff is the Department of Defense or the government looking for in order to get a grant? So the simple answer to this, generally speaking, is that the government and the DoD especially is looking for breakthrough technology, meaning something really that will change the world, that could have a long-lasting effect on the world, that could be the next big thing, the next big company. If you have breakthrough technology, then you probably have a very good shot at winning. What's interesting about grants is that the SBIR program refers to itself as the Seed Fund of America, meaning that they consider themselves willing to invest in risky projects, assuming that there's an effort being made to do the research. Even if you don't have a prototype, you can still be awarded a phase 1 SBIR grant based simply on the research and development endeavor itself. So I think that obviously you need to have some kind of roadmap and some technology developed on some level, but I think I'd like to emphasize that the key is something really breakthrough and innovative. Okay, I don't see any questions from the audience, so for question number 2, I'll just cover the pricing for grants quickly. So the question would be, how much money can you win for a grant? The answer is, if you use the SBIR STTR program, it's a different amount than the other grant mechanism called a BAA. BAAs are usually larger grant sizes, and you could probably win something around an average of $1 million. They're kind of open-ended, so it could be smaller, it could be even larger, and it kind of gives you longer R&D timeframes to win larger grant sizes. If you're looking at the SBIR STTR program, it's a smaller size. Over the long term, it's a 3-phase program, so the total could come out to about $150,000. But for each phase, it's usually $150,000 for the phase 1, $1 million for phase 2, and $1 million for phase 3, roughly speaking. But if you look at it as a long-term strategy, it could be a big winner as well. That kind of gives you a strong sense for what kind of grant sizes are available through federal grants. With that, I'll wrap up the Q&A and as well the webinar. Here is my contact information again. If you want to reach out, feel free anytime. Here's my phone number and my email address. Also, I have a link to my calendar if you want to book a call. This link should work. It was a pleasure speaking to all of you. I wish you guys lots of luck, and I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.